Daniel, a man faithful to God, is thrown into the lion's den for refusing to stop praying. God shuts the mouths of the lions, and Daniel is saved, demonstrating divine protection. The story of Daniel in the lion's den is found in the book of Daniel in the Old Testament of the Bible. Context: Daniel was one of the Jewish exiles in Babylon, taken captive after King Nebuchadnezzar's conquest of Jerusalem. He stood out for his faithfulness to God and his ability to interpret dreams and visions. Envy of government leaders: Daniel became one of the leaders in the Babylonian government due to his wisdom and ability. However, his fellow officials grew envious of his position and sought ways to bring him down. Darius' decree: during the reign of King Darius, the envious leaders convinced the king to issue a decree prohibiting anyone from making a petition to any god or man except the king for 30 days. Violation of this decree would result in being thrown into the lion's den. Daniel's prayer: despite the decree, Daniel continued to pray 3 times a day, as was his custom, facing Jerusalem. The envious officials reported him to King Darius for violating the decree. Daniel in the lion's den: King Darius, who held Daniel in high regard, was distressed by the situation but could not revoke the decree. Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, but before this, the king expressed his hope in God, saying, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." Divine deliverance: the next morning, the king hurried to the lion's den and found Daniel alive and unharmed. God had sent his angel to shut the mouths of the lions, so they did not harm Daniel. King Darius then issued a new decree, ordering everyone in his kingdom to revere the God of Daniel, recognizing his sovereignty. The role of prayer: the story of Daniel in the lion's den highlights the importance of prayer in a believer's life. Even in the face of the royal decree, Daniel continued to pray fervently to God, placing his will above human laws. His faithfulness to prayer, even in the face of death, is an inspiring example of commitment to faith. Daniel's character: Daniel is depicted as a man of exemplary character, both in his public and private life. His integrity, devotion, and trust in God are characteristics that resonate throughout his story. He chose to obey God rather than follow the kingdom's laws that conflicted with his faith. The king's intercession: despite his esteem for Daniel, King Darius could not revoke the decree he had signed. However, he expressed his hope in God, recognizing the power of Daniel's God to deliver him from the situation. This shows how Daniel's life and testimony influenced even the heart of the king. Divine protection: the story emphasizes God's direct intervention in protecting his servant. God sent his angel to shut the mouths of the lions, preventing them from harming Daniel. This miraculous intervention highlights God's sovereignty over all circumstances and his willingness to protect those who trust in him. Testimony of God's power: Daniel's deliverance from the lion's den was a powerful testimony to God's power and faithfulness. The news spread quickly throughout the kingdom, leading many to recognize the greatness of the God of Israel and revere him. This story of Daniel in the lion's den is a remarkable testimony of divine protection over those who remain faithful to God, even in the face of imminent danger. It demonstrates how unwavering faith can overcome the greatest adversities and how God intercedes on behalf of his servants when they fully trust in him.